Imagine waking up tomorrow and hearing that oil is no longer priced in dollars but in Chinese yuan, that countries are trading using golden-backed digital currencies, and suddenly all your dollar savings don't stretch as far as they used to.
Oh please, dollar's end has been predicted forever. Yet here we are, still paying with greenbacks.
This isn't just a fantasy, it's a real scenario many experts are starting to take seriously. For over 80 years, the US dollar has been the king of global trade. Today, nearly 90% of global currency trades and almost all international oil sales still use dollars. But things are shifting fast. Enter Brics: Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. Now joined by countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Egypt and the UAE. Together, this expanded alliance represents over 45% of the world's population and around one-third of global GDP. And their goal? Reduce dependence on the dollar. They are building alternative systems, boosting golden reserves, and settling trade in local currencies. Former US Congressman Ron Paul calls their plan the Rio Reset, a financial earthquake aimed straight at the dollar's throne. But before we find out, hit that like button, subscribe and share this video, so you don't miss what's coming next. Also tell us in the comments below, would you trust a Brics-backed currency over the dollar? To understand this threat, we need to understand the throne. The US dollar didn't become king by accident, it was built into the system.
In 1944, the Bretton Woods Agreement made the dollar the anchor of global finance, backed by gold. That changed in 1971, when President Nixon ended the gold standard, but instead of falling, the dollar soared. Why? Because just a few years later, the US struck a deal with Saudi Arabia. Oil would be sold only in dollars. This single move created the petrodollar, locking global demand to the greenback. Today, the dollar makes up 59% of global central bank reserves and 96% of trade invoicing across the Americas. It dominates because it's trusted, liquid, and easy to use.
But that trust is being tested, and now powerful nations are quietly building alternatives. The empire was built on deals and dominance. Now others are writing new rules. Brics used to be just 5 countries, but in 2024 something big happened. Egypt, Iran, Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Ethiopia all joined the club. What started as a loose economic group is now transformed into something much more powerful and far more ambitious.
By 2025, the expanded Brics represents over 45% of the world's population and about 35% of global GDP. This is no longer just a group of developing economies. It's a global heavyweight challenging the status quo. And their target? The dollar-dominated financial system. What unites these nations isn't shared politics or economic models. It's frustration. Frustration with US sanctions, with a global banking system centered in New York, and with a currency many believe is being used as a political weapon. China and Russia are leading the charge for financial independence. Saudi Arabia is considering selling oil in yuan. Iran and the UAE are investing in cross-border payment networks outside of the SWIFT system. These moves are all part of a coordinated push to build something new. But there's a catch. Brics might be big, but it's also divided.
These nations have long-standing rivalries, clashing interests and vastly different economies. Turning size into unity won't be easy. Still, the momentum is there, and the message to Washington is loud and clear. The dollar's dominance is no longer guaranteed. Do you think a Brics currency is actually possible, or just a fantasy? Tell us what you think in the comments below. It's not a loud revolution, but it's still happening. Quietly and strategically, Brics nations are chipping away at the dollar's dominance.
In 2023, a stunning 65% of trade within the Brics bloc was settled in local currencies, not dollars. That's up from near zero just a few years ago. Russia and China are leading the rebellion. Trade between them hit $227 billion in 2023, and 90% of that was settled in rubles and yuan. Russia is dumping US dollars and increasing gold reserves, now holding over 2,300 metric tons, the 5th largest stash in the world. China isn't far behind, with more than 2,290 metric tons of gold and rapidly reducing its exposure to US Treasury bonds. India has begun settling oil trades with Russia in rupees, and Malaysia and Indonesia are exploring regional currency systems to sidestep the dollar altogether.
It's not just about trade, it's about control. The more BRICS countries use their own currencies, the less power the US has to impose sanctions or influence global markets. But will these moves really stick? Or they're just symbolic jabs at a system too big to fail? Former Congressman and longtime critic of fiat currency Ron Paul has issued a stark warning. The Rio Reset could be the beginning of the end for the US dollar. At the 2025 BRICS summit in Brazil, the expanded Bloc announced a bold new initiative. This includes a blockchain-based financial system and a gold-backed reserve asset designed to bypass the dollar entirely.
Ron Paul compares this moment to the fall of the British pound as the world's reserve currency a century ago. According to him, America's endless money printing, rising debt, and weaponization of the dollar have set the stage for a massive shift in global finance. He warns that if BRICS succeeds, Americans could see reduced purchasing power, weaker retirement savings, and an economy vulnerable to inflation shocks. Central banks around the world seem to agree. Many are stockpiling gold and diversifying away from the dollar. But is this warning a wake-up call or just alarmist noise?
The Rio Reset may not destroy the dollar overnight, but it could make the first real challenge to its throne in decades. Donald Trump is back in power and he is firing shots at BRICS like never before. Calling the Bloc a little group trying to undermine the dollar, Trump has threatened automatic 10% tariffs on all BRICS countries that try to trade without using the US dollar.
This isn't just rhetoric. These tariffs could hit key BRICS economies hard, especially China, whose trade with the US totals hundreds of billions annually. Trump's goal is clear: protect the dollar's dominance by punishing anyone who tries to break away. But will this strong-arm approach work? Experts warn it could backfire. Instead of scaring BRICS off, harsher tariffs might push them closer together, accelerating their push to build alternative financial systems. There's also the risk that weaponizing finance, using sanctions and tariffs as tools, could hurt US businesses and consumers through higher prices and disrupted supply chains.
The dollar's power comes partially from global trust and convenience. Alienating key players risks shaking that foundation. So the big question is, will Trump's tough stance save the dollar or speed up its decline? Here is the truth. BRICS won't end the dollar overnight. The US currency still dominates global finance thanks to deep markets and trust built over decades. But BRICS faces big challenges: internal divisions, different economic systems, and fears of China's dominance, making a full dollar replacement unlikely soon. Still, the shift is underway. The world is moving toward a multi-currency system with more trade settled in yuan, rupees, and gold-backed digital currencies. The dollar won't disappear, but its share will definitely shrink. The era of easy American financial dominance may be coming to an end. Did you consider holding savings in BRICS currencies or alternatives instead of the dollar? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit a like button, subscribe and share this video so you won't miss what's coming next. Catch you in the next one.